ahead of the knockout competitions later on today. Both of these two nations already qualified for the knockout stages by courtesy of their performances yesterday. But they are contesting for top spot in the pool. And once again, Rob Vickham, former England Sevens captain, is alongside me. And Rob, England-New Zealand just concluded over in Japan, and both these squads, I dare say, don't quite know the score. They've been out here in the rain training, getting ready for this one. It's going to pick up here on day two.
It is indeed. I'm not sure of the spoiler alert level. Do we announce anything, or do we just leave it be? These two teams, as you mentioned, not knowing what has just gone on, but certainly a lot of excitement around the world, and rightly so. Rugby been celebrating out in the Far East, but here we are in the northwest of England, and still, believe it or not, raining. So skill sets will be challenged. Not often what you see in the seventh conditions, but very much to the titans of what we saw yesterday. These two teams will go hard at it, and I'm particularly excited to see the lethal duo of the 9th and 7th round at the bottom left of the screen, Kennedy and Conroy, see what they're capable of this game.
So here we go then. Day two, the AFI Sevens begins, and Billy Dardis on points from the restart. France will get it back in their white colours, and Ireland in their uncustomary black. Jordan Conroy is going to work in defence, trying to track down William Iragua. France really ending yesterday strongly with a victory over the USA. Ireland having done for the US early in the day. And Ireland will have a scrum here in an inviting position, a chance to work something from the set piece.
Yeah, breakdown hustle from the Irish. Going to see a lot of ball contested on the floor, and that's what the Irish really do pride themselves on. They're big, they're strong forwards. They get over the ball and compete. You can see the size of the men up front. That they're always going to be a problem when it comes to any type of combat.
So Ireland loaded out of picture, all on the left-hand side. And here they go. Ewan Hughes is having to track back in the white headband. Someone who's come to Ireland through various different systems, including Wales, hence his name. And here is one of the key players for Ireland yesterday, Adam Levy. Whipped away by O'Sullivan. Dardis and Kennedy. Shake of those hips, and it just holds the French defence for a moment. And we'll come all the way back. Katie Ritchie, our referee today, hoping, as we all are, I think, for a little bit of a drier day. We had splashdowns aplenty, puddles, not actually on the pitch, courtesy of the 4G, but everywhere else. Get more soaked before you get out here in the rain.
Well, luckily she doesn't have to catch and pass, so she should be all right. Making some great decisions yesterday. Great in the game of rugby, you can have females referee in the male game.
Billy Dardis, Ireland tight, and then they look to open things up. Well taken by Kennedy. Those are the kind of passes that just weren't sticking for plenty of sides yesterday. Everything had to be perfectly in line, and Levy is now stretching things. O'Sullivan on the switch. Conroy, Jordan Conroy. The express train for Ireland all the way on the far edge. So Harry McNulty flips it out the back. Now Levy goes. France patient though, in defence, and working hard on the floor is Sacha Valot. Illegally so. Dardis goes quickly. 5 out now, Ireland, and looking for the first try on day two. Diving for the line. Held up. Levy goes to Hughes, and it's over to that man, Jordan Conroy, has a one-on-one. Conroy steps in and then offloads. It's a good pass to Terry Kennedy for the first score for the Irish. They had to be patient, and they were.
And the first time the deadly duo used in tandem, the first time we've seen a score. Great pictures there. Those two men, you see it in shot. Terry Kennedy on the right, Jordan Conroy running towards the camera. Both so dangerous with ball in hand. Very different styles. Conroy, the elusive guy on the outside that bounced to on the inside, and then Kennedy, who's a bit more industrious with his running style, has to work a little bit harder perhaps to hit that top speed, but still beats defenders for fun.
7 points to 0. Successful conversion. Industrious with the running style, Rob.
Yeah.
Good pull out of that one.
He's still rapid, just doesn't look it, which he very much uses to his advantage. You don't expect him to bounce on an outside line and around you, but he'll do it all day.
Yeah, likes of Kennedy and Dardis. Saw a lot of footwork from Billy Dardis, the man with the ball in his hands at the moment yesterday. Was flourishing in the wet. Ireland high and away to the left. France unable to deal with that. And once again, Rob, those restarts perfectly aligned by Ireland.
Say the most important restart of the game. You look at scrums and line-outs, been other set piece, but in rugby sevens, all important that you get your restart right, get the ball back after scoring, you get to kick again, very rare. It's a nuance of the game, but you get good at it, you win games.
So Dardis now with the throw-in. I think still plenty of those who have come down to watch that England-New Zealand game still in the clubhouse, celebrating win for either nation. We're not going to give away the result here. However, Hughes is looking to go double up for Ireland. Dardis follows through. France yet to have the ball in their hands. It is all the black shirts of Ireland at the moment. Levy, such a consistent performer yesterday, and is in that sort of mood this morning. Kennedy, no real space to work, so Dardis tries to get the feet flying, and Jordan Conroy will start to bring a little bit of flair to proceedings. Here goes Hughes. Again, Ireland knocking on the door, but France get a break. A break they've earned as well. Excellent work on the floor. France's Jordan Sefo. Tixier. And then it's Louis Marou. Worked across. France, as so many nations are, looking to test their skills in this warm-up event, in a sense, for the World Series coming up in 6 weeks' time. Alexandre Bernard. A lot of people talking about Alexandre Bernard in French ranks, Rob.
And rightly so. You look like that, you're going to be pretty effective, aren't you? He's got real pace, but he's got that little level of abrasiveness, which I quite like as well. Very aggressive in how he runs at people. Not happy with just running around them. He likes to go through them, gets the fen going. And as the French do every single year, unearth a very powerful athlete that is the perfect form for the game of sevens.
They've only really lost one major name, I think, coming up. Gabin Villiers, or the Lanton Rouge, as I like to call him. Don't think he's signing on this year for France Sevens. Real shame. Such a mixed bag of quality. That sounds like a criticism. It just means he has all the skills and uses them in every single way. But not with France for this season. Conroy very much with the Irish, and he looks to engage Bernard in a drag race. Bernard's done very well indeed.
Well, that is no mean feat. Talk about how fast Jordan Conroy is, 37 kilometres per hour, capable at his top speed. And he hits a lovely arc, but it's a really good tackle by Bernard. You get the angle, so you've got to bide your time, make that timing right, and then use the touchline as another defender.
The best defender in world rugby. So France, close to their line. Ireland look to spoil. It's taken by the Irish, and they go over. Placing it down, Aaron Sullivan has got another try for Ireland. So the Irish, the earliest awake, signing on for the second day of work here in Chester in fine style.
Really like how this Irish team are developing. Spend a lot more time on the core skills which you get from being professional. The time that you then have to hone these skills, to work as a unit, to work on your kicking, as Billy Dardis clearly has done, makes this Irish team a real threat for this upcoming series.
So at half-time, it is 14 points to Ireland against France. A very good start to this morning's work by the Irish. Well, objective one for the French, Rob, just get the ball in their hands for a period of more than 30 seconds. All the Irish in the first 7 minutes. Dardis. He will like it exactly as it is. Dominating possession and able to just go through their patterns in these early stages. Lovely break from Ireland again. In behind, Jordan Conroy looks to open things up. He doesn't quite find the pass. So Greg O'Shea plays scrum half. Terry Kennedy. So not rolling away, nothing wrong with that tackle, but then not rolling away on the floor from the French. Conroy steps out of the first, Jordan Conroy, and the Conroy convoy continues. Another try for the Irish speedster.
Oh, and as soon as he beats the one defender, gets in behind, it's almost a default that he's going to get 5 points to his name. He is lethal. And he really is backing himself at the moment. Often with these types of play, you need to have that confidence to take people on, and he did that perfectly. Lovely step on the inside, pushed off Gambert. And Dardis again able to convert because it's under the posts.
Not short of perfect rugby sevens in these conditions, Rob, from Ireland.
No, really good, really good. And tactically, you could always play a long kicking game and just back let you chase would be good enough, but that's not what you're going to be doing on the 7 series. So absolutely right by Ireland to try things, experiment. Combinations are looking strong. And again, their continuity against what is a good French team is looking a real strength of their game.
Well, Mark Roach is on, and good news for us, Rob. One of your favourites from yesterday, Izachukwu. Cormac Izachukwu is on in the 12 jersey for Ireland. Terry Bourawa now on for France. Can Le Petit Général change things for Les Bleus? Iragua, full of industry yesterday and evasive as well. Really exciting watching William Iragua go about his work. Sometimes looks to be a little bit unsure of where he's going, but that makes him dangerous. Here is Mignot. Bourawa. Now he'll go quickly and look to entice the defence towards him. Iragua. Tixier. And forwards in that passage of play. Well, not under real pressure in contact, Rob, there, but the mistake coming.
The way the French had some success yesterday is using their big forwards to get those offloads going. The 2 or 3 quick passes in succession, making them very threatening when they were playing well yesterday. Clearly day 2 has its challenges. You've played 3 games yesterday. Physically, you've been exerted. You come into this, it's an early start, you get a good blowout, and already these players testing themselves aerobically. Their fitness levels really are remarkable.
Well, Terry Bourawa has played an old French trick there on Mark Roach. He's got the ball back for his team. Can he play from France's number 4?
Well, out the back pocket. He could probably fit in the back pocket of some of these players. Certainly, my favourite player from yesterday is Izachukwu. You can see him next to Terry Bourawa in his shadow. The big number 12 from Ireland. He's going to have his work cut out in defence against the French.
Bourawa gets the ball back and, importantly, gets himself clear of Izachukwu. Matthias Colombe, who scored some important tries for France, especially when they beat the USA yesterday. Here is Ethan Dumortier. Bourawa. France's big names that they've bought here in Chester, all on the field. Mignot. Looking to get into this game. It's still 3 clear scores which Ireland lead by. Sefo on Izachukwu and Jordan Sefo. A meeting of 2 monsters, and it's going to be Sefo who takes the try.
Was continuing his effort from yesterday. The big number 10 for France. You can see him running back. Jordan Sefo. That's no mean feat. He just passed 2 defenders, one of which was a man we're talking about. You can see the finish from him here as he just puts the ball down, but all from the hard work about 20 metres before that as he pushed off is Ichuku with almost too much ease. You don't want to be seeing that. Certainly if you're going to talk him up as your favourite player.
Well, he didn't let you down yesterday, Rob, and I'm sure it's just a slight false step at the beginning of the day. France on the score sheet, but still heading for their first defeat here in Chester. France, Ireland, the two nations who will be contesting Olympic qualification through the repechage competition, having both qualified for that in Colomiers over the summer. What a tournament that is going to be later in the year. As Greg O'Shea, well, he'll look to be in the Olympic Games for Ireland, no doubt about that. He's been industrious here in Chester, not yet marked himself out too much. McNulty is trying to do just that, and up in support. Ireland's stretching France again. Lennox it is. Izuchukwu is on the left. McNulty goes to the right. Jack Daly fighting forward. So many options here. Aaron Sexton is out on the wing. Hugo Lennox didn't see him. Well, missed opportunity for Ireland. They're going to have the penalty here. Aaron Sexton said, "How could you ignore me? Here I am, all 6'4", and I'll have another try. Thank you very much."
Oh, the 18-year-old scores that one just a metre away. Shame, because if we get to see him do 100 metres, that'll be a pretty spectacular thing to see. Absolutely right from the breakdown. Options left and right for the Irish. Didn't take either, but managed to get the penalty. And if you give away a penalty just 5 metres out from your try line, the French only have to make half a tackle, and they will have conceded the points, as we just saw then.
So 4 tries to 1 overall in Ireland's favour. I think he's just being economical, Rob, Aaron Sexton, because why score from 100, even if you can, when you can do it from 5 yards? So the conclusion of the first game here in Chester, it's the end of the group stages for both these two teams. They will both qualify for the Cup semi-finals, and we'll see them competing for silverware later on in the day. It's gone the way of Ireland by 26 points to 7. So the USA on our screens on FloRugby here from Chester, and looking to turn around a little lacklustre performances yesterday. They lost 2 of their 3 games. It means they are unable to qualify for the Cup semi-finals here, because France and Ireland both have those spots. They're looking to end strongly and perhaps perform well in the second-tier competition here in Chester. Amazing to be saying that with this number of stars they've brought here to Chester. Perry Baker included, and Cody Melfi as well. So to name a fool out, both those involved here, and a wonderful moment for Jamaica to be able to play against stars of this calibre. Conan Osborne, their captain, goes back to Fussell, and Fussell will relish this. 8 on 8. Fussell on Harley Wheeler. And just a knock on there, so the US countering. Melfi. Wheeler. Tupuola is offering himself on the left-hand side, and that's where they go. Fussell tries to cut off the angle. Danny Barrett takes a stationary ball and then looks to go fast forward. Takes 4 Jamaican players with him. Wheeler is the first receiver. And Wheeler's going to stroll straight through the gap for the first try for the USA. That is as easy as it gets. The door opening up, the door off its hinges from Jamaica.
And again, it'll be a day 2 scenario for the Jamaican team here. Very difficult to get your body and mind right for what was a really tough day yesterday. To then do it all again today is a tough ask. And against this USA team who probably read a bit of the right act yesterday, underperformed, mentioned about the stars on show. They've got some significant names in the world of sevens playing. And to have lost the games they did yesterday in the manner that they did, Coach Mike Friday will not be happy. Yes, they see this as developmental. They're here to try things, but ultimately they're winners. They want to make sure that they're hitting the straps, and yesterday they weren't.
So Melfi kicks us off again. Jamaica, one of the lower ranked teams, up against the top ranked team here. A lot of these UK-based players representing Jamaica and looking to work opportunities like that. Mason Caden Brown gets it off the floor, and this is the foot race here, 11 on 11. Baker goes back and had to be lively in defence there. The support from the Crocs is good. Caden Brown wrestling forward. Mike Sinclair, who plays his rugby in the US in the 6 jersey, following up perhaps here. Jamaica can level matters up. But the US get back and do a job. Nice breakout from Jamaica.
Fantastic from Jamaica. Offloading rugby at its very best. You get a little bit of time off the floor to pop the ball up. Technically a pass rather than offload, but really was great stuff. 2 or 3 on the bounce, and when you get that momentum going forward, you always got to have a chance. And a shame there not to get over the try line. That would have been a great score for the Jamaicans. Still in great position now. Attacking ball, 5 metres out, just that half tackle needed and they're in.
Yeah, Mike Sinclair is now having to ruck over the ball. Tyler Bush scored a couple of tries for Jamaica yesterday. Jamaica ending the day, beating Nigeria. But nothing would be and receive as much of a cheer from their camp as crossing the whitewash against the USA.
Unfortunately, Danny Barrett did not get that memo. Chance now after that poor kick.
Well, more footballing skills from Conan Osborne, the captain. Now sets off. Someone who is in the form of his life playing for Jamaica, according to Jamaica's coaching staff. His performances over the summer at the Pan American Games. Really impressed, actually. Tyler Bush. 8 away. Aaron Hamilton. Younger player on the side. Conan Osborne again. The USA cranking the pressure up in defence. Jamaica keep coming. Hamilton. Fualau is taken on, and Fualau is driven all the way backwards. 10 yards made by Jamaica's number 7. Mike Sinclair is there, Mason Caden Brown too. This is some phase of play from Jamaica. Pace of things slowing down, but Fussell will look to just power forward, and Fussell will get there. Well, when you can't do it with the fleet of foot, do it with the broad shoulders of Fussell.
Well, more akin to 15s. If anybody watched the World Cup this morning, they've seen similar style of play, all 7 players in half the pitch for Jamaica. That's intentions well and truly clear, that they were just looking to go route 1, and you don't want anyone else in your team
try a piece.
There's never been a better time to play the USA. Confidence at a real low after yesterday, and now spiking for the Jamaicans.
Cody Melfi shows good aggression. The playmaker now turning his hand to trying to finish this off. That is a well-weighted chip in behind, collected by Will Holder. Meter away now, the USA. All started by Melfi, and he'll finish it too. Cody Melfi, the architect, the finisher, and showing a lot of class in the wet conditions here in Chester.
Class was the word there, Jack. Absolutely right. Melfi gets the initial break on the right, has the absolute awareness to know that Holder was tracking down the middle of the field, put it on the boot. He then followed up, supported, and a lovely bit of deception. Really like the look of Cody Melfi. Come in for the military to try and get his shot at the sevens. He knows what this means to him. I'm not too sure Madison Hughes' kicking duties are much under threat after these efforts. That was a big miss.
Yeah, the K-Train, Kayvon Williams, unable to convert. But the USA just in front after an excellent first half showing from Jamaica. So Jamaica turning round with a 5-point deficit against the second best team on the series last year. And a few technical problems which we're just dealing with, but the scores as they are, 12 points to 7 to the USA. And Jamaica putting more pressure on things. But Baker is trying to tidy up and perhaps create something a little bit special, Perry Baker. Offloads to Maceo Brown. Very good first day from the USA's number 5. Baker, and now this is looped over by Tupuola. Kayvon Williams lurking, but also on the far hand touchline, Brissell is going to fly in. The USA go and get a third.
Much better for the USA. You can see Perry Baker finally making his presence known out here at the A57s. People have been waiting to see what he can do there. Beat a couple of players, lovely little offload, and then the shift ball right across the other way. And Brissell able to finish on the far right. Well, he's improved his kicking. Better strike, but the flags, I believe, still remain down.
Really good wheels shown on the outside, Rob, by Ben Brissell. Saw him cross yesterday a couple of times. Adding to his score on day 2. Someone who has added to his score already here, Daniel Fussell. Tyler Bush, Conan Osborne. There is a confidence now which Jamaica are playing with, having got a day of 7s in their legs yesterday. The connection's just working a little bit better despite that attack breaking down. They'll have the scrum.
Perhaps the big question mark yesterday for the Jamaicans was just sustaining that performance, tend to do quite well, make it awkward for the teams in the first half. But then potentially the energy levels got a little bit too low in the second, and that's when the errors creep in. As we're seeing there, a little knock-on from the US team. It happens to the best. But now a chance for the Jamaicans to have a real go from deep.
Carlin Isles is on, and Conan Osborne goes the other way. It's a very well-weighted kick, and it could work out for Jamaica. Bouncing around, the US get it back on their side. But for the bounce of the ball, Jamaica could have been in again there. Thomasine is on to try and steady the ship and create more havoc. Or Carlin Isles unable to take the ball with him. A difficult first day for some of the US's speedsters, and Carlin Isles there unable to take it with him.
I've seen it a lot in the World Cup, actually. That humidity out in Japan, meaning the grip is tricky. Exactly the same here with a wet ball. Carlin Isles just not used to it. Simple as that. His grips not strong enough to hold the ball, and simple release is now given chance once again for the Jamaicans. I like the kicking game. They should use it well.
Anthony Bingham, who provided one of the moments of day 1 with an enormous hit against France, setting up a try for Jamaica. He's got an American football background, Anthony Bingham. And my goodness, did he draw on that. Absolutely level the French defence. Good chance to see something here, Rob, from a set piece. And a set piece, I guess, it's a good way to level matters up because you're in complete control as long as you can win the line out.
Yeah, a couple of points of interest here. The USA looking at a one-man lift. So Pat Blair and Glenn Brissell at the front of the line out. That is going to be Brissell jumping on his own and Blair trying to lift him. So there's chance for the Jamaicans to win this cleanly if they get high enough.
Which they do. So Osborne wraps around to Bingo. Bingham drives straight. Gets through Maceo Brown. Now stretched over to this right-hand side. Big hit coming in from Wheeler. Lined him up well. Chance here. Mike Sinclair plays in the US MLR. Jamaica building again. But the US doing enough on the floor. Kayvon Williams takes it quickly over to Pat Blair, and they're looking to release Carlin Isles. Jamaica shutting down Carlin Isles initially. Thomasine, Maceo Brown, Brissell is lurking again, and Brissell now sets off, and he's got such a good pair of wheels. He's a former Greco-Roman wrestler, Ben Brissell, of some repute, turning his hand to rugby in recent years, and he's got all the skills.
Well, that's a great foundation to play rugby, but what about the pace? I'm not sure if they run too fast around the ring, but he has got some serious wheels. Went so well yesterday when he got his shot, the noticeable blue boots. And he's got that lovely gait, the pattern. He's taking a bit of a rest now on the sideline as you see him run off as Thomasin kicks. But what an impact from Brent Brissell. Another one of these good players, and that perhaps level underneath the top line players, but one certainly for the future.
And Rob, with that last play, Carlin Isles may feel aggrieved there wasn't the space for him to go, but is that because Jamaica was watching him so well?
Yeah, as soon as Carlin Isles gets the ball, you can see 3 people turn their shoulders and run at a 45-degree angle, trying to just shut down the space that's in front of Isles. It's going to be difficult for him and frustrating at times, but he's got to know that in itself is impactful for the team because the space will then be elsewhere.
Maceo Brown seals the ball. Thomasine. Kayvon Williams. Naima Fualau. Well lofted pass to find Brown. Tyler Bush on the tackle for Jamaica. Thomasine has Kayvon Williams herring after this. The K-Train can't take it. Harley Wheeler will, and Harley Wheeler pinning those long, florid locks into the air to score.
Well, I know you're a big fan of Wheeler, Jack, just for his very abrasive style of play, the chest fend that he often uses rather than using his arm. But he has been so impressive, so noticeable, just because of his work rate. He gets amongst it, he does the graft, but he's also got the speed as well. I think he is another one of these players, as well as Brazil just mentioned. This USA team can spend a lot more time developing and hope to get many more minutes on the series this year.
Thomasine won't quite finish things off, but the US, the professionalism telling again, and looking to be running some good plays in their first game on. So we'll see both these nations later on today with the knockout stages coming up. Welcome back to Chester, everybody. And from local time here, a very good morning, wherever you are in the world. South Africa against Spain next on. And if you're watching FloRugby via one of our open social channels, then if you want to continue to watch the coverage after the next game on, and as the tournament concludes it, just join up, find a subscription for FloRugby, and you can continue to stay with us as the rugby continues. One of the key warm-up tournaments ahead of the next World Series, an Olympic year at the end of it as well, Rob Vickerman.
And many Olympians on show already, Jack, and you have just tuned in, you're in for an absolute treat, because this South Africa team yesterday were the stars of the show. All 13 of their players were simply outstanding. Lost Dylan Sage to a bit of a head injury. The number 3 won't be featuring today.
And a shuffling of the cards somewhat, Rob, with Selvin David starting things off. Equally strong in all regards, though. So the blitz box against the Spanish. And the Spain just with one win to their name yesterday, beating the Ramblin' Jesters. They lost to England and Hong Kong. And we expect, given the form of the two sides, that South Africa will be the one coming out on top. But you just never know in sevens. Spain, a great testament to that, as they toppled the All Blacks, no less, in Canada on the World Series last year. Off the top is Chris Dry, Selvin Davids, Kurt-Lee Arendse. Onto Muller du Plessis, and already Muller du Plessis has the wind flowing through his hair. First try for South Africa.
The youngsters doing it for South Africa. As both Kurt-Lee Arendse and Muller du Plessis are fresh off the conveyor belt of supreme talent the Blitzbox Sevens always produce.
Selvin Davids, wayward with the conversion, so 5 points to 0.
I absolutely agree about sevens. Many things you can never predict. However, the form of this South African team yesterday, this could be a rout if they hit the straps like they did yesterday. The Spanish are a World Series team, but the Springboks were just next level yesterday.
Perfect accuracy from the kickoff. The chase, though, not quite getting the airtime needed. Spain and tracking sideways a little too much. The Blitzbox pounce. Muller du Plessis puts his shoulder to work on Edu Lopez. Juan Ramos, a little bit of trickery from the number 4. And Selvin Davids is just trying to rip this ball, one of the smallest men on the pitch. He had a little bit of help from his friends, but great strength from du Plessis. Christy Grobbelaar, Kurt-Lee Arendse. Runs like a Ferrari, doesn't he? He's all class. Du Plessis. Selvin Davids has that pitter-patter, zigzag style of running. And Spain really just struggling to contain the Blitzbox. And Rob, how do you defend against a team stocked with pace and skill like this? What's the best option?
Well, the best bet is to try and do what South Africa are doing, is have a lot of line speed to stop the ball, get into the South Africans with time in hand. At the moment, what we're seeing, the Spanish holding off a little bit, and as you can see here, in sevens, you don't have to be full tilt. It's that change of pace that can really kill teams.
JC Pretorius on the far side in a starter's role on day 2. Pressed so well off the bench. Here's Justin Heddleton. Here are the dreaded feet of Kurt-Lee Arendse. Muller du Plessis trying to open things up for Grobbelaar. Christy Grobbelaar. Up to the 22. Heddleton. Arendse. Muller du Plessis. It's coming. But only so far as the 22. Spain with the stop out. Heddleton is brushed away. Excellent from Juan Ramos. Now Javi Dewan. Rob, you're asking for Spain to be a little bit more direct with their attacking style. It's going to be put under the microscope here.
There's a yellow card for Chris Dry there, and you can see referee's really hot on that, any type of indiscipline around the contact area. You can get a yellow card, which in sevens is 2 minutes on the sideline for Chris Dry. Problem is playing against South Africa, they're just so good without the ball, and their aggressive defence can be used almost as a weapon. That they shut you down, they can make errors happen, and then, almost like the All Blacks, capitalise on those errors with very quick transitions and can score in a heartbeat.
Ramos wraps around. Kurt-Lee Arendse trying to close down the space for Carrion, and Javier Carrion has done very well to get the ball away. Spain and Juan Martinez up to the 22. Rolling sub, so it means the likes of Ciabello Sanatla have snuck onto the pitch and trying to cause problems in defence. Spain work it back this way. Ignacio Guerra. Hernandez and Lopez along the line. Sanatla lurking. Now, perhaps here, Edu Lopez can escape. No chance, says JC Pretorius. And South Africa get in amongst it and take the ball back. Spain again, Rob, stretching, but never quite cutting through.
No, the difficulty with South Africa is you can often get through that first line, whereas most other teams, that would be enough. South Africa chased back so well, blessed with pace right across the board. It's almost that second, third effort that's going to get success against the South Africans.
Selvin Davids opens things up. He has Siobelo Sanatla on the inside, and Sanatla will sign in for work here in Chester in exactly the same fashion as he ended it on day one. Scoring again. But that one about the fast feet of Selvin Davids.
You know it's coming. You just can't stop it. And in tandem, Davids gets on the outside. Siobelo Sanatla, he just cruises. First attacking input today, first touch of the ball. He gets his try.
Successful conversion and 12 points to zip for South Africa.
And there's Davids bouncing around the outside, absorbs two defenders, goes round the outside because of the dummy line from Sanatla, and then the tracking on the inside from the famed South African try scorer. All too easy for Sanatla, but a wonderful play from Davids.
And over a two-day tournament, Rob, consistency really comes into play. Maintaining that across every game. So far, we haven't seen any dip from South Africa. Just hitting the same standards as they were across their games yesterday. Kurtley Arendse, Selvin Davids has Siobelo Sanatla this time to find via the feet, and Sanatla just needs a little bit of footwork to control, and he'll get there. The referee has a look and gives it. Sanatla has 2 in 30 seconds of play on the pitch.
Oh, and how good was that one? The deft touch running full tilt. Sanatla, just a rugby player, he's also a footballer. That chance to be able to control the ball, he could be called up for Bafana with skill set like that.
Selvin Davids getting a lot of practice at the conversion and nailing it on that occasion to go into half-time.
And here it is. Uses his right foot. Twice a little touch, and that pick-up put down. That's why he's one of the best finishers in the game of rugby, irrelevant of code.
From a developmental perspective, Spain are getting good time out on the field to try and work out how to play against nations such as South Africa. Well, first thing on the list is not to make easy errors like that.
Yeah, unforced errors. The analogy of tennis, the double fault. You need to kick it 10 metres, you don't. You've given grade A ball back to South Africa, and I love how they do this. They'll just walk, spot a chance, and tempo change, off they go.
All of a sudden it's fast forward. JC Pretorius is bringing that speed on the line. Sanatla. Kadults. So many options which it looked like he was considering all at once. Went for the kick, and Christy Grobbelaar made sure that it goes down as a kick collected. Selvin Davids just holding the line and then accelerating. Making that decision so late, kept all the Spanish defenders waiting for his next move. And here we are waiting for South Africa's next move. In the middle of the park, Selvin Davids, eyes lighting up, and gives it to Grobbelaar, who'll just crash through the middle. Green jerseys splintering red, and South Africa have another.
And just to show they're not all about the steppers and the line breaks and the running around people, there was an out-and-out line break through the middle. Grobbelaar hits the hard line. Everyone's standing, staring, watching Davids, wondering what the hell he's going to do next. By that time, the change of angle, run back at the ball. Grobbelaar scores for his team.
And Selvin Davids well in the mood with his attempts on goal.
A bit of rivalry in between the team. I like it. You've got Davids who comes on, usually. We saw yesterday he was the sub. This time, Speckman's the guy who's going to step up. Wonderful abilities right across the board. And you can't not enjoy playing in a team like that, can you?
Yeah, it's must be a glorious feeling when it all clicks as well, as it has been here in Chester. Zane Davids is on. Well taken by Juan Ramos. He can do everything for Spain, can't he, Juan Ramos? Flying in the air there, securing the ball. And Spain with Javi Duan. Now on the attack again, Christy Grobbelaar gets a bit of help from Zane Davids. Carry on. Just, well, not quite done enough. And the Springboks have 3 in the game here. Taken by Iñaki Mateo. Dispenses with Zane Davids well. But like a cold day creeping in, Zane Davids gets back at him. Kurt Lierense now takes on 2 Spanish defenders. Selvin Davids again. Instantly gets up to 5th gear. Kurt Lierense, Ciabello Sanatla with his winged sandals is lurking. Be able to show them from this position. Now he might. Spain though, and Juan Martinez, one of their youngsters, flooring Sanatla there. Grobbelaar. Selvin Davids for JC Pretorius, who can finish from this kind of distance, and no trouble at all in doing it again.
And that is where you see the problem of trying to play against South Africa, because on the left-hand side, you've got one of the most deadliest finishers in Sanatla. He keeps the ball alive. The men in the middle can really pull the strings and play make, and then out wide, one of the youngsters, JC Pretorius, devastating with ball in hand. All-out energy when he runs with the ball, just so hard to stop. Got to say, special mention to how Zane Davids has impacted in this game. I remember watching him about 4 years ago, first time I saw him play under-20s at Manchester for the under-20s World Cup, and he was a force, and he's come out in Manchester, south of Manchester again today, looking equally as frightening.
It's just such a massive human being running at you.
There's that E Honda as well, just keeps going with the slaps, just does not give in, constantly flying. They're calling their one, you can see the symbols they're making with their hand. That's the area they feel they're going to kick to try and get the ball back.
Ryan Oosthuizen energetically galloping after the ball. Spain have it again. Oosthuizen on the floor. Alessandro Sanchez had to be very strong, and he was. Mateu. Just look at what a mess South Africa are making of every contact point.
It's number 4, Zane Davids, nearest the screen. Like a bull. They've uncaged him, just said, right, off you go. Let's see some havoc.
And it doesn't get any easier. The man with the ball in his hands is none other than Mr. Roscoe Speckman.
Interesting place for a line out there. I think he needs to find himself toward the touchline, sort of in the middle of the guys. But again, set piece play. South Africa love to have plans and procedures, and expect to see Speckman flying round off this.
Here he goes. He uses Ruan Nel this time, and now Sanatla and Selvin Davids after this. Sanatla has to turn into defending mode. Well taken by Alejandro Sanchez. My goodness, he has to watch that well. Not easy having Sanatla in your wing mirrors. Juan Ramos. Big clear out from Spain. Legally done though. It's the kind of physicality that they have been lacking a little bit in Chester.
And just trapped in their 22. So difficult to get out of here when you've got line speed like the South Africans coming at you. A wet ball still. It really does favour the defence.
So we'll engage in another foot race here. And it might work very well for Spain. Roscoe Speckman has covered the ground. Oosthuizen, that first receiver. Finds himself in all positions now after joining South Africans' programme. Really taking on a lot of leadership these days. Oosthuizen. Ron now. Little show to Selvin Davids, and the blitz boxer in space, working out where the best option is. Of course it's outside. Siabelo Sanatla is there, and Selvin Davids now has it back. Sanatla has a 1-2, and the blitz boxer in again. It is sometimes that easy.
The 1-2, 1-2. South African stars really encapsulating just how effective they can be. Lovely little return balls, and if you don't put them to the deck as a tackler, they're just going to keep haunting you. Into the dark depths of this game now, approaching 15 minutes of the clock's running time. Last kick approaching, and it has been yet another impressive effort from the South African team, who are just blowing teams away.
They are the team which has the biggest target on their back. The first-class performers in a first-class game. South Africa, we'll see them later on in the Cup semi-finals. We'll see Spain a little bit later on in the tier competition below that. But it has ended here with Spain scoreless and South Africa in fine form ahead of the knockout stages. So our next match on the main pitch here, the only pitch here in Chester. England against Hong Kong. Welcome back to the live stream where we have England against Hong Kong. It is England Rugby's first match since they beat New Zealand in the Rugby World Cup semi-final.
Spoiler alert, Jack. Spoiler alert. I'm sure if people are watching online, they will know, undoubtedly know, of the significant achievement that England have had. beating the All Blacks.
I think there's a responsibility with news like that for it to be out there. England Sevens in their all-white strip, and Hong Kong in their blue and maroon. England's day yesterday ended with defeat to South Africa. They really were outperformed across the 14 minutes, but could still be contenders here on day two. Hong Kong having a couple of good wins yesterday, actually, beating Spain particularly, that was the notable one.
It's a great yardstick for the Hong Kong team to try and compete against the England team. We've got Burgess, Norton, Lindsay Haigh, stars of the series. It's going to be a real test for them. It's exactly what they want. They're a developing team with some big ambitions.
And they have their big names on the pitch. One of them, Russ Webb, in the 10 jersey for Hong Kong. Mike Coverdale now. Jamie Hood, all that experience in the 5 jersey. Phil Burgess in the red scrum hat for England. Just running around like a crazed lantern, doing his work. And one of England's best players from day one, Tom Emery, has time here to work out where to go. Ollie Lindsay Haigh. Will Hendy. And now Will Glover. Didn't see all that much of Will Glover yesterday. Dan Norton has pace to burn, and he bursts through the middle up against Jamie Hood. And he just pulls the flaps back, lifts the ailerons, and the flyer is in again.
Well, he's in no rush to put it down, Norton. Doesn't need to until one of the Hong Kong player approaches, but that's just all-out class from the record try scorer on the HSBC World 7 Series, and never get bored of seeing it. The left foot kick, the pick-up, and off he goes. Hood is no slouch, shows him the outside, and Norton just takes it. Breezes round him, one-on-one, few better in the world. And we've seen that so many times and continue to do so in what is approaching his 11th year on the series.
Deserves a degree in durability, as well as being a first-class student of being a speedster. Burgess is up to his tricks from kickoff. And England with the penalty. Lindsay Haigh just lifts that right leg and then tries to lay on a waltz. Emery puts it on the toe, it's in behind. Woodward is going to have to be very smart here. It's spilling around and just rolling out into touch.
Oh, unfortunately, I like the style. A little bit of a kick in behind. You're right about Lindsay Haigh. He's just so threatening with ball in hand. But now a chance. Another good position, 5 metres out from the line out. England like their wrap plays, and by that they bring players around each other, try and hold lines. You've got Lindsay Haigh in the middle, Norton out wide. Not a bad partnership to try and do some damage out on the wide left.
One of their most skillful, Callum Waters, to try and feed, or maybe go himself. Callum Waters sliding in.
Really impressed with Waters. He's come through the Premiership Sevens route. He was a star playing for Harlequins. Got his chance at the back end of last year for England Sevens in Paris, and now continues his form. Exciting schoolboy, has progressed into senior rugby. Perhaps opportunistic, as Webb in front of him did fall over, but Waters is not hanging about for that score. It came from the hard work of Burgess at the restart. Let's see if they can try and get it back again. Looking to go straight down the middle.
Emery with the restart. Into Hong Kong hands and Mike Coverdale. Russ Webb. Jamie Hood now on the attack. Rafe Morrison involved in Coverdale. Again, popping up, using their bigger carriers, Hong Kong, to try and secure the ball. Ross Webb. Now Hugo Styles, one of Hong Kong's standout performers on day one, and Lindsay Haig has to watch him carefully. Coverdale again, just in behind, playing the security role. This is building nicely for Hong Kong. Coverdale, though, gets hammered. Will Hendy with the perfect timing. Hood to Webb. Max Denmark, can he make an impact on England here? Gets the feet going. Norton has to take him. Well, Coverdale's done well there. Russ Webb. Now out to Max Woodward. This time Will Glover is doing enough for England. Well, it's excellent defence from England, and Norton maybe turning that into attack here. Just the hitch kick to try and get away.
And nobody in the backfield either. If England are savvy here, they've got a long old run in. One line break and they're through.
Callum Waters is making that line break. Just gets it off the floor too. Emery up in support. And Tom Emery finishing off a great attack founded on superb defence.
Well, England absorbing the attack from Hong Kong in their own 22, and such a sevens. The turnover can quickly mean that it's a 100-metre play back down to the Hong Kong quarter as Emery glided through.
No problems for Emery going into half-time.
And just another look at that pop off the floor. Lovely support line running back at the breakdown. Waters with the hard yards. Emery in support. And he gets the finish for England.
So at half-time, England well ahead against Hong Kong. 19 points to 0. Well, with the scoreline as it is, Rob, for Hong Kong, what areas do you think Paul John will have been looking at to improve this performance?
For them, it's all about their execution that first half. They just gave away a ball too many times. When they had chances, they didn't finish it. This is a long-term plan for Hong Kong.
Tom Emery sprinting away right from the restart. Sometimes it just falls for you, but you've got to have the speed to take the opportunity, and Tom Emery has bags of it.
I've been really impressed with Emery. I think he's really stood out for this England team. He's wearing the 6 shirt that Tom Mitchell often wears, and he actually looks a very similar mould that Tom Mitchell came through to the England Sevens team, having never really played senior rugby. So Sevens for him has been a wonderful pathway and shown how good he can be at rugby. He's got an Olympic silver medal on the back of it. And Emery, I really like how he plays the game. It's great to get him through. Went well for Northampton. And now seeing him in England Sevens shirt.
Himself and Callum Waters in the playmaker roles have really stood up for England. Hong Kong can't take it from kickoff. Burgess will just gobble it up. Waters has to calm things down again. Bavadra. And now on the pitch again for England, getting more time here. Ronnie Durant, one of the Chester players, was registered here, playing for his country on his home patch. Bavadra just dispensing with Hong Kong players. Here comes Ollie Lindsay-Haig. Taking on Max Denmark and then releasing Dan Norton, who puts it on the toe. Denmark has taken Norton's feet. We'll have to have a see what the referee's decision is.
Well, if Denmark has been seen to take out Norton, the discussion now will be about what will be the level of punishment. Your base point being a penalty, perhaps even a card if it were intentional. The ball kicked a little bit too hard to give the penalty try, but Denmark can find themselves taking 2 minutes here, I think.
And Ben Rimini, the captain, out on the field for Hong Kong, is being called over with Max Denmark. So Hong Kong down to 6. One of their prize strike runners off for 2 minutes and a penalty try as well to follow up.
It means no conversion, but I'm not quite sure about that one, Jack, because it has to be a dead cert that was going to score it. For me, the ball was kicked a little bit too hard. Denmark rightly getting the yellow card for that indiscretion, but I think it's been a little fortuitous there, Dan Norton, to get the penalty try awarded. But at this stage of the game, just disappointed for Hong Kong to now try and finish this sizable task with 6 men, albeit for some reason they've got 7 on the field still.
Well, you're absolutely right, Rob, but play somehow continuing. Despite Max Denmark's yellow card, Hong Kong playing with 7.
Coach agreement, I believe, Jack. Just seen James Rodwell give the pretty sizable thumb up to Paul John.
Well, we're in interesting territory with that, but here is Hong Kong's Chris Mays. Now McQueen, Yu Kam Shing. Pass to Rimini, goes right past him. McQueen just struggles to gather that. Ollie Lindsay-Haig is up in his headlights. And back on England's side. Lindsay-Haig goes and changes direction, and he saw the space just out of the corner of his eye, and Ollie Lindsay-Haig with a slide to finish it off.
That was absolutely class from Lindsay-Haig. He's just so aware of space. Converts his own. Got the ball in the penalty position, and this one change of direction beat 5 people, and that is where Denmark was done for the right foot just trailing. A little bit unlucky, perhaps. Yellow card and penalty try from it.
So England in very good form in their first game of the day. We'll be seeing them later on competing in the Cup competition in the semi-finals to come. Hong Kong will be competing in the lower tiers of the competition here in Hong Kong. Here goes Yu Kam Shing, though, potentially to end things on a high for Hong Kong, taking on Lindsay-Haig. Lindsay-Haig showing his speed to stay with Hong Kong's flyer. This is Christie. With one of the best mullets we've seen in Chester so far, James Christie. Caro Lee. On to McQueen. Ever industrious has been McQueen. Ben Rimini works along the line. Liam Herbert, he's had a couple of tries here in Chester, but he won't be able to finish one where, and neither for UCAM Shing.
Oh, so frustrating, just that final pass. You never want to end the game with a duck egg in the top left. That score was on. It was one tiny little pass, just a 3-foot pass on the right-hand side. UCAM Shing was screaming for it but couldn't get it, and now chance for England to try and clear the lines.
Alfie Johnson working things nicely with Jamie Barden. And now Bavadra looking to wreck shapes here, and Liam Herbert is just hit from behind. Herbert now has a foot race on here. Onto Ronnie Durant, and is the Chester bred player going to score for his country? He is. He had one yesterday, gets another one today. Ronnie Durant. So Ollie Lindsay-Haig can't quite convert. England still in fine mood and stretching their lead.
And it's nice to see these offloads in combination. The young guys coming through, keeping that style going. Out the back door, lovely little flick, and then Durant getting an honourable action of scoring a try for his country at his club.
So England go deep to Rimini. Well, it's been a tough game. Can Hong Kong end it with something in their corner? James Christie spots a gap. UCAM Shing. And Herbert. Plenty of support here for Hong Kong in Chester. Ben Rimini goes to Christie, who's got a good fend on him, James Christie. England feeling it there. Alex McQueen. Caro Lee and Mays. Rimini, Ollie Lindsay-Haig tries to put pressure on. Hong Kong have to make a new plan. They'll have the penalty here. McQueen goes quickly. Has Caro Lee with him. It's a good tackle from Oluodunlami. Rimini again. England just trying to line up Hong Kong, and Ronnie Durant, the try scorer moments ago, excelling in defence. Slight knock on from England perhaps, but the referee is going to play on here, and Durant hunting another. But England with their turn to have a yellow card. Now, will the coach's agreement work in reverse? Let's see.
No. I don't think they'd want to either. I think at this stage of the game, worth testing with 6 men for England. They're going to get far more out of that than Hong Kong would. Slightly bizarre, but great shot from Durant preceding that. That was a great contact. That's what you want to see, these young guys really getting stuck in. Went for the speculative hand to try and intercept in his sevens. It's pretty much a rule of risk and reward. If you don't catch the ball, irrelevant of the touch, you're going to find yourself in the sin bin.
Back on England's side. Lindsay-Haig spreads the play. It's put on the toe here. Bavadra is in the race for England. If it bounces up nicely, Bavadra collects. And this big bulldozing player for England has a try using his raw speed.
Well, if we talk about Emery being more of a George Ford-style find for this England team, Bavadra's very much a Tuolangi mould, isn't he? For G, an 18-year-old studying at Bishop Burton College in East Yorkshire, so really got him at a young age and hopefully can keep hold of him because he looks a wonderful prospect.
Relentless from England in their first game on day 2. Perhaps we will see something special in the latter stages. Very good start from England against Hong Kong. And that concludes the first block of action here on the second day of the AFI Sevens. We now have an hour's break until our next match on, but that match will start the knockout stages. So do join us then back here on FloRugby for the continuation of the action here in Chester.